Hi, this is Nancy Flinchbaugh with SpiritualSeedlings.com. I'm an author, and today I'm interviewing Steve Schlather to talk about race and also a play that addresses racism called Clybourne Park. Steve Schlather is a retired journalist. He's also my husband at 37 years, and he's a cast member of Clybourne Park, which will be performed here in Springfield, Ohio at the Turner Studio Theater in April of 2023. So let's meet Steve and learn about Clybourne Park. Well, welcome, Steve Schlather. It's good to talk to you this afternoon. And I wanted to talk to you about the play that you are currently preparing to perform in with Clark State Community College in April. Can you tell me what the name of the play is and what it's about?
The play is called Clybourne Park, and it's about race, class, and sex in contemporary America. The play's point of departure is a previous play called A Raisin in the Sun, which came out in the late 50s and concerned a Black family that was going through a lot of turmoil. And part of that was that they were trying to buy a house, and they would be the first family of color to live in this neighborhood, and they met with resistance, and the play details how they dealt with that. This play starts in 1959, 2 days before the white family is preparing to move out of their home because they're selling to the Black family, and neighbors are coming over and trying to talk them out of this. And then the second act is 50 years later, and the African American family has owned this home for 50 years now, and there's descendants there. The neighborhood has declined and now it's being gentrified, and white families are buying up the homes and tearing them down and turning them into McMansions. And both acts take place in the home, and people are discussing this. And you have 7 roles in both acts. And so each actor plays one role in the first act and a different role in the second act. So it's a fun play to be a part of because you get to do different things.
So, why did you personally audition to be in this play? Why did you want to be in?
Well, we saw this play a few years ago, and I was really impressed by it. It was really interesting, well written, funny, thought provoking, sad, provocative. And I just remember thinking, if anybody ever does this play locally, I'm going to try out. And then Clark State said they'd be doing it this year. So I tried out and was fortunate enough to get a role.
Well, congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the play. And I wondered, why do you encourage people to attend, and what do you hope they might take away from the play?
Well, this is the kind of play that I really love to do. It's a serious drama about real things that are happening in contemporary America with characters who you may not identify with, but you can understand and you see them as real people. They're not caricatures, and it gives an audience things to laugh about, things to think about, and it just casts a light upon the dynamics of race and sex and class in our society. And I think that's really one of the most important things we can do with our artistry.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you personally become involved in theater?
Well, that could be a long discussion. I was not a
Short
theater kid.
version, short version.
I was not a theater kid in high school. When I was in college, I had a roommate who was a theater major, and one time he was directing a play, and several of us who were friends of him said, "Well, let's try out for Mike's play." And lo and behold, I got a part, not a big part, but a pretty good one. And so I did that, and I had a good experience. I did another play my senior year, but I didn't really think anything would happen with that. But then a few years later, I was in a church where there was a guy who was wanting to do a dinner theater for our church, and he just went around the church asking anybody who had any experience as an actor to try out. And so I did. And this Alan Getchus was the guy's name. He had a PhD from Northwestern in theater. And I just learned so much from that experience. It made me realize there was a lot to being in theater, and there's a craft involved that you could really cultivate. So I just began doing more community theater. I did quite a bit when I was younger. kind of took some time off for a while to raise a family and be involved in my career, and then started again in 2007 when I got cast in another Clark State play called Fuente Obahuna. And I've been in several plays at Clark State and some others around town. And just being in a play is one of the most rewarding experiences for me. And I just really get a chance to immerse yourself in a role and be really involved with a group of people who are working together to create something that other people can enjoy and appreciate.
Okay. I have been doing a series of YouTube interviews about talking about race in tribute to my late friend and our mutual friend, actually, Winky Mitchell, who passed away last September. And I know it was really important to Winky that we have these conversations about race and try to work against racism. And I just wondered what's your take on that? Do you think it's important to talk about race today? Why
I
or why
think it's
not?
been important to talk about race for the past 400 years. I'm 72. Uh, I grew up in the 50s and 60s when the civil rights movement was in ferment, and uh, people maybe expressed hostility toward Black people more openly. I went to segregated schools, attended Robert E. Lee Elementary School. So, I've seen a lot of things change and some things not change so much. And it just seems like this is a subject as Americans that we have to continue to return to and think about. We've made progress, but much remains to be done. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Excuse me. But, excuse me. Um, I think the only way we do make progress is to be open about the issues we face.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add today, Steve?
I'm sorry. No, I just hope people will come see the play. I think they'll enjoy themselves and they'll get some food for thought. And I'm really enjoying, most of the people in the play are young people. And it's fun to be involved in something with a group of enthusiastic young people. And I particularly appreciate our director, Chelsea Jenkins, who was in school with our sons and who I've worked with before and who's really good at what she does and is really helping us mold this play and giving us good direction. And I think it's going to be a good evening of theater.
Okay, I'll put up some information at the end about how people can buy tickets, but it'll be running April 14th, 15th, and 16th, and then again the following weekend,
Right.
21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And I think you told me that there's one performance where they will be having a discussion after the play.
That's the first Sunday, the 16th. There's what they call a talk back session, and that'll be after the play.
Our cat heard
Can
your
I say one
voice.
other thing?
Yes.
Um, One other thing I do is I'm on the board of Springfield Civic Theater. I've been in one civic theater production in our town, and I joined a year or so ago the board. One of the things I wanted to do was to advocate for diversity and inclusion, but I found that they were way ahead of me. Civic Theater's been doing a lot to be more diverse and to be inclusive. They've done two plays since I've been there that have predominantly African American casts. One was a play based on the events in Selma in 1965 called One Sunday in Birmingham. And then they did the musical Crowns, which is about African American traditions around the wearing of hats by women. It's kind of a fun play, but also got some serious subtext. And we also did a children's production where we partnered with the Clark County Department of Disabilities and included many of the children that they work with in the cast. The director, Becky Brunsman, made a commitment that any kid who tried out, they'd find a role for them in the chorus or some way. And they stuck, we had more than 80 kids involved in that production. And the DD people were really great partners, gave us rehearsal space. So I've just seen the Civic Theater really doing a lot to take diversity and inclusion seriously. And I think they deserve kudos for that.
Well, some great things going on here in Springfield, Ohio, and community theater. And I know that you encourage all of us to support our community theater productions, Clark State. and the other local productions. So you can encouraging people to look up the Springfield Civic Theater, and they're going to continue to offer those kind of plays in the future seasons too, I know. So thank you so much for talking with me today, and I hope everybody will come out and see. Steve, what's your name? What's your role in the play?
I play Russ in the first act, the homeowner, and then the second act I play Dan, a handyman who's working at the house.
Okay, so we'll look
Well,
forward to
thank you
seeing.
for making time to learn about our play and to broadcast it to people. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Clybourne Park by Bruce Norris will be presented in Springfield, Ohio at the Turner Studio Theater April 14th through April 23rd. It's produced by Teresa Laricella and directed by Chelsea Jenkins. You can get more information and buy tickets on the Clark State website, pac.clarkstate.edu, or call 937-328-3874. The performances run Friday and Saturday, April 14th and 15th at 8 p.m., Sunday, April 16th at 2 p.m., Friday, April 21st, and Saturday, April 22nd at 8 p.m., and Sunday, April 23rd at 2 p.m. Tickets are $15. Students of Clark State can attend free with a valid student ID. It's presented by the Clark State Theater Arts Program. Will you join me in talking about race? Email me at nancy.flinchbaugh@gmail.com if you would like me to interview you. This has been a Spiritual Seedlings interview with Nancy Flinchbaugh. Check out my websites at nancyflinchbaugh.com and spiritualseedlings.com, and follow my YouTube channel for more interviews. And I hope you'll check out my latest book, Revelation in the Roots, Emerald Isle, and see what I have to say through my characters in working together to solve our problems of both race and politics in the United States. It's a novel, it's an adventure, it's a trip to Ireland. Check it out.